Greetings, my good bitches. The name's Francis, Coke Francis. I'm an editor, Twitch streamer, drag artist, and I'm here because I'm capitalizing off my previous success. Come on, you know you love it. You clicked on this video, didn't you? I think it's safe to say that we're all collectively feeling the fatigue of big studios constantly feeding us reboots and rehashes and sequels seemingly to no end. And yet, even though people say they're sick of these, you can't argue with these profits.
Whatever, you'll pay to go see it. You.
Oh, and those times when you can just shelve a finished product for tax purposes because that's legal apparently? The possibilities are endless. So, by making this video, am I using this shameless form of capitalism for my own gain? Yes and no. Ever since I posted that video where I ranked Mr Birchum Yaoi, which has catapulted my YouTube career into a resounding success, there is an entire subreddit that is dedicated to Mr Birchum Yaoi. By the way, mods for our Mr Birchum Yaoi? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little miffed that nobody had posted my video there. I'd also be lying if I said that the success of that video didn't totally go to my head. Also, for those of you who are here for the first time and have absolutely no idea what's going on, I recommend watching my first Mr. Birchum Yaoi video and then coming back to this one. Long story short, a group of failed screenwriters that calls themselves the Daily Wire tried to enter the world of adult animated series, fell on their face, and are now facing the wrath of the internet, which has decidedly shipped the two main characters. Anyway, the Mr. Birchum Yaoi subreddit features a ton of new pieces made by extremely talented artists that I wanted to showcase here, and of course, rank as well. And I just want to say that I am incredibly grateful that you all have helped me reach so many milestones this year, including the fact that this squeakwool is sponsored by Aura. With everything else going on right now, it's easy to forget that 2024 has seen some major high-profile data breaches, which raises some serious concerns about personal information security. Dell suffered a breach that exposed 3.9 million customer records. AT&T disclosed 2 breaches, one affecting about 2.5 million customers and the other affecting almost 9 million. And as all you Swifties out there can probably confirm, Ticketmaster experienced a breach that compromised over 560 million customer records. But most disturbing of all, National Public Data announced that they had suffered a major breach that compromised over 2.9 billion records used for background checks. Critical personal information like full names, addresses, dates of birth, phone numbers, and most importantly, social security numbers. And it has been confirmed that the hacker group responsible has released this information online for free. You're more vulnerable than ever in today's digital landscape. And if you haven't been taking your personal information online seriously, now's the time to change that. Just like I did when I started using Aura. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points like the dark web and public court records to alert you about potential identity theft. They'll also offer up to $5 million in identity theft insurance should the worst case scenario happen. Aura also offers a ton of other features to keep you safe online, including real-time alerts for data breaches, a VPN for secure browsing, data broker opt-out to stop companies from stealing your personal info, a password manager, and many, many more. I'm not leaving myself or my family vulnerable to data breaches, and if you don't want to either, you can use my special link aura.com/queencokefrancis to try 2 weeks for free, which is enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data has been exposed. And with that, back to our regularly scheduled programming. All the art I found was on our Mr. Birchum Yaoi and Twitter. Nothing is unclaimed this time, but if I did happen to misattribute something, please just let me know. And if you are one of the amazing artists featured in this video, I would love it if you introduced yourself in the comments. You all know the drill. Art is subjective. What flips my flapjack might not flip yours. So, by all means, feel free to disagree with any of my choices. I decided I wanted this to be more of a showcase than a ranking per se, so nothing here landed below a B. If you want to watch me really rip something to shreds, I recommend checking out my MAGA fashion show ranking video or my Babylon Bee one. Here we go! First up, we have this piece by Emily Draws 135, and they really went for an emphasis on the enemies to lovers motifs here. There's a lot of symbolism present. They even went so far as to split this screenshot from the original show. But as you can see, the heart they share has stitched them back together. I really love all the smaller details too, like Mr. Birchum's GOP pin and Elliot's rainbow scrunchies. Birchum's big ol' mustache is covering his mouth, but we all know there's a smile under there. This one's super cute and it's really well done overall, so let's kick this list off with a solid A. Next up, this artist's name is Clifton. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find any of their social media pages, so here's their handle just in case you happen to. This is a recreation of the infamous dancing scene from the original Mr. Birchum, the one that, in the minds of logical people like ourselves, solidified the fact that Karcham is canon. This actually looks almost exactly like a screenshot from the original show. The only reason I know it isn't is because I did a side-by-side comparison. As you can see, the line work is different, and Mr. Birchum is looking a bit more bashful here than in the show, probably because the Daily Wire doesn't actually know how to convey human emotion, but Clifton does, and for that reason, I'm gonna give this one a B. Here's the first of a few recurring artists I've featured in previous videos. We've got a lovely piece here by Confetti777. I'm a big fan of their art style and how cute and cuddly they depict these characters, especially the ones who pride themselves on their masculine identities. Definitely loving Elliot's Ubo smile here. There isn't a whole lot going on here. It's pretty standard Karcham fare, but it's still adorable. I love this artist's previous work, so we're gonna give this one a B. I'm really loving this piece by Darkwing Snark. Elliot constantly being on the mind of a very confused and frustrated Mr. Birchum is a very common theme here in the Birchum Yaoi verse, and this artist did a really great job depicting that. Great facial expressions here too. And Birchum is actually saying what's on his mind rather than all that macho insecurity nonsense. Something I doubt the Daily Wire would ever be caught doing. Not just because they don't understand regular human emotion, but because they're also avoiding those big, scary no-no words that I, also technically can't say on here. Anyway, this art style is very polished, and I really hope to see more work from this artist in the future, so I'm gonna give this one a high A. Next up, we have this piece by Guy Nandro Monkey. Here we can see Karcham in the moments before they get really hot and heavy. I do hope this one has a happy ending, because clearly Elliot feels comfortable enough to let his hair down and show off his pride tattoo, but Birchum seems a bit hesitant, doesn't he? You hear that? That's the sound of grown men. Grown-ass men in my neighborhood. As we've learned in the previous video, Elliot takes consent very seriously, so hopefully he practices what he preaches and gives Mr. Birchum the safe space he needs to broaden his horizons. Solid work overall. I'll give this one a B. This next piece by Inogmia, God, I hope I pronounced that right, because this is some really beautiful work here. This is the kind of stuff that makes me wish I had more time to practice drawing. I love when conservative yaoi breaks from the traditional anime style and leans into a more old-fashioned look, just like the titular character's politics. Amazing line work, amazing colors and shading. Elliot looks so good with just a regular ponytail instead of his usual man bun. Absolutely love this one, so you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna give this one an S. We've got a nice black and white sketch here by Mr. Eagleman. This piece was actually included in a compilation that we will be looking at later. This artist really leaned into Mr. Birchum's bear aesthetic and didn't shy away from giving him a lot of body hair in the top half. Get it? I always find it kind of weird when characters who should have body hair don't. I don't know. I'm sure the Daily Wire would have added it if they could, but they probably didn't want to pay their gay Spanish animators any more than they already begrudgingly had to. Simple and sweet. Just how these two like their men. So I'll give this one a B. This next piece by Yeah No Sorry, great handle by the way, not only has a great message, but also has the flag gag symbolism we've seen in other Birchum new norm yaoi, but I really love the way that it's implemented here. We've speculated that Mr. Birchum is actually bi because he is still attracted to women, but Elliot was the man who inspired him to broaden his horizons. But something I hadn't seen yet until I was doing research for this video is the speculation that Elliot might be pansexual. He says he's heteronormative in the show, but I think that's only because the Daily Wire does not know what that word means. This message is also something for all of us to keep in mind following the election, regardless of who wins, which will actually be decided by the time this video is posted. Oh God. Before I have another anxiety attack about that, I'm gonna give this one an A. This next one is a 4-page series by Ninika1N. What a beautiful story this one tells and how creatively it illustrates the dynamic between these two. Mr. Birchum makes a jab at Elliot's expense with a bad pun that's still probably more clever than anything the writers at the Daily Wire could ever come up with, though he seems to rethink that joke when he sees that Elliot is clearly very distraught over losing his last hair tie. But with Elliot's luscious locks being let down rather than in a tightly wrapped man bun, Birchum's thoughts start running wild. Then Elliot, the true mensch that he is, wakes Birchum up from that daydream, not to prevent his rampant homosexual intrusive thoughts, but because Elliot genuinely cares for Mr. Birchum's safety. Between this story and the incredible artwork, it's pretty much impossible for me to not give this an S. Next up, we've got another series by Ollie Rachnid, though this one is less of a series and is more episodic in nature, I guess. A mood board, if you will. I love this new outfit they gave to Elliot. I really wish I could see what's on those buttons because I am living for the shirt that he's wearing in this other panel. Their dynamic is illustrated really well in the top left here, not just by their positioning, but also with Birchum drinking a beer. Not a gay beer though, I bet. And Elliot drinking what looks like a mojito with a little umbrella.
I don't think it's a gay drink.
I love all these little vignettes as well. They're all scenes that we should have seen in the show. And then they included this tweet that perfectly sums up how this show backfired spectacularly. Just like the last one, I don't see how I couldn't give this one an S. Here's a sweet and simple one by Maruchan Art, and I gotta say, I'm really loving all these interpretations of Elliot with different hairstyles. That might just be because man buns don't really flip my flapjack all that much, but hey, Mr. Birchum has swapped his usual red polo for a turtleneck sweater. I'd like to assume that's because he wanted to match with Elliot so that they could be sweater buddies. Finally, we have this text that says true and canon because this is, well, true and canon. The Daily Wire gave us the queer representation that we deserve. They just don't know it yet. So this one gets a B. There's a lot going on here in this next one by Politastic119. Now, in my last Birchum Yaoi video, I had suggested that Birchum was the top and Elliot was the bottom, and Jesus Christ on a tiny bike, did I have a lot of you telling me otherwise. So now I'm gonna do one of my least favorite things in the world, which is admit that I'm wrong. Elliot is rightfully in the driver's seat and Mr. Birchum is behind him holding on tight. I think the reason Birchum has this look on his face here isn't because he's doing something gay, but probably because he's wearing a helmet, which is such a weak soy boy thing to do. Once again, we're seeing the bisexual, pansexual symbolism. Here it's in the clouds that are next to each character. Might as well make it canon at this point. So I'm gonna give this one an A. Here's a piece by returning champion artist Plasmas, and once again, they did not disappoint. So much symbolism going on here. Is the Elliot riding a scooter thing a running joke from the show? I never actually watched the show, so I might have to hit up my friends Call Me Pat about that. Anyway, Mr. Birchum is making a jab about it in this drab heterosexual reality that he's forced onto himself. But a mysterious force keeps pulling him back into the bisexual universe where he admits that he, in fact, loves Elliot's little scooter. However, Elliot is unfazed and will patiently wait in the rainbow universe until Mr. Birchum finally accepts his true identity. I absolutely love this one. This artist consistently puts out great work, so I'm gonna give this one an S. Next up, we've got 3 pieces by Radonine, and you'll be so proud of me. I understand the references to, 2 of these. I have no idea if the first one is a reference to something, so if it is, please just let me know in the comments with the kind, gentle approach that you always take when doing that. Anyway, I'll admit again that I was wrong. They really leaned into Elliot being the dom and Mr. Birchum being the sub. There's clearly a nice size difference going on here as well. In the second picture, we've got the Toad Yoshi interpretation. Thank you all for educating me on that. And in the third picture, the Among Us reference is actually the first that I have personally seen in the Birchum Yaoi-verse, and I've seen a lot of Mr. Birchum Yaoi. Radonine is clearly a preserver of internet history, and for this reason, I will give this collection a solid B. We're coming up on our last couple of pieces. Here are a couple of lovely black and white sketches by some dude other. This is also included in the compilation we'll be looking at later, and even though this is just a sketch, the line work is really beautiful, and I love how body positive it is. It looks like Elliot decided to ditch the twink aesthetic and adopt the bear lifestyle that Birchum inspired. I'm also loving this detail of the smiley face underwear. We love to see it, so I'm gonna give this one a low A. Finally, here's that compilation I mentioned earlier made by a florist named S, and it includes art by Error of Z, Mr. Eagleman, Some Dude Other, Radonine, Corvidays, and Ghost Soda. And I want you all to just take a good long look at it and reflect on how we got here. Just think about what this represents. See, we, the gays, really created something beautiful here. We took a homophobic adult animated series that was made by homophobic adult children, shipped the 2 main male characters together, and formed an entire community around it. Even conservatives didn't enjoy Mr. Birchum. And now, the yaoi of Richard Birchum and Elliot Carponzi is officially the show's legacy. Notice how the Daily Wire hasn't said a word about this show ever since this all happened. Yet they still run ads where I rank gay art of their stupid homophobic cartoons, which, according to my DMs and comment sections, has inspired more people to make gay art of their stupid homophobic cartoons. So thanks, Ben Shabibo. I hope you know that you just paid a drag queen's bills. So, all that said, this compilation gets an S for that very reason. It took 3 years and 40-something videos, and it's still such a trip to me that somehow this was the series that finally launched my YouTube career. But let me be abundantly clear, I am incredibly grateful for this, and I couldn't have made it here without all of you. So here's your complimentary head pat.
Now how could I say no to that?
I hope conservatives never stop making cartoons. I hope you guys have as much fun watching these as I do making them, and I can't possibly think of a better way to wrap up this very fun video with the winning comments from the last one. Moss72Z says, Super Saiyan God Fran Drescher goes hard as f***, dude. Meet Moopy the Third says, the outfit for this video has Dolly Parton begging you to please not steal her man. And finally, Burgerpocalypse says, please play the half-hour news hour intro content warning as the grave diggers dump my corpse into the pauper's grave. You too could be featured in the next video. Leave a comment below. I will pick my favorite ones and give you a shout out next time. If you would like to guarantee your name be featured at the end of every video, please consider joining my Patreon. If you join any of my membership tiers that are conveniently named after Fallout protagonists, your name will be featured at the end of every video. You might also get access to cool stuff like access to my Discord, behind the scenes content on how I make my wigs, ad-free and uncensored versions of my videos, exclusive community chats in my secret box, and many more, and hopefully even more to come. So if you love my videos and my drag, you can support this channel directly by clicking the link to my Patreon in the description box. If you would like to see me simp for my favorite game characters and get visibly frustrated in real time, please follow me and my beautiful co-producer Mitchell on Twitch. I stream most Saturday or Sunday afternoons Pacific Standard Time, and we are still raising money for the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. And if you would like to see even more of my clown mug elsewhere, please consider following me on Instagram or TikTok. My handle for all of the above is at queencokefrancis. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't done so already, please produce a really well-made movie that provided thousands of people with livelihoods and jobs and tested very well with audiences, then shelve that movie permanently for tax purposes. When the IRS finally decides to do something about it and throw you in prison where you belong, pressure them into silence once again by going ahead and unzipping your pants and dick slapping those like and subscribe buttons as hard as you can. Thank you again to Aura for sponsoring this video, and thank you to all my patrons and subscribers who have helped my channel grow and thrive the way that it has been. And of course, as always, until next time, I gotta wrap this up because the dog next door is going absolutely insane.